You want to see something really cool? Of course. Turn off the lights. Industrial strength night vision goggles.
Holy Santa Claus.
Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. This is the review video for the RIX Tactical RNV-31 dual tube night vision unit that you see here. And I've had this thing for 5 weeks now. I've used it every single night for 5 weeks. I haven't missed a night that I haven't used this, at least for a few minutes outside. Some nights quite a bit more than that. So I do feel like I can review it pretty well at this point. Now, this is about the most affordable dual tube night vision setup that you can get on the market. And there are some things that they did to reach that price point. We will talk about those. Is it worth it to get one of these for around $4,500? Or does it make more sense to save up for something much more expensive when it comes to dual tubes? Night vision is a very expensive game to get into. Specifically, if you want to get into dual tube, white phosphor night vision, the only way you're going to get anywhere close to the price of this is a used unit that you find on the secondary market. For new dual tube night vision, I mean, this is about as good as it gets cost-wise. Now, before we get deeper into the video, how did they get it at this price point? Well, I think two things mainly. They have Chinese NNVT tubes in them. Now, are those tubes going to be good enough for you, or do you need the highest spec L3 Harris tubes? We're going to talk about that. Besides that, they do have a proprietary glass. It's not mil-spec glass, and you can see that the lenses are significantly smaller on the ocular side than you see on many other night vision units. Again, is that something that's going to matter to you or not? Well, what I have found after using these for 5 weeks is I think that they're awesome, to be quite honest. Now, to be fully transparent, I don't have experience with any other higher end night vision units. But for the average gun owner, for the average enthusiast that isn't in the military, that isn't kicking down doors in the middle of the night, that isn't part of SEAL Team 6 going in to take out Osama bin Laden, are these going to be good enough for you? I think that they probably are. So the more I've gotten to use these, I feel like they do everything that I want a night vision unit to do, especially at the price point. So the biggest barrier to entry with night vision is that price point. I mean, you're looking at 10 grand for dual tubes, 8,000, whatever, you know, and then when you put together a helmet setup, a laser aiming module on your rifle, I mean, you're looking at a very, very expensive price to get into shooting with night vision. Well, RIX Tactical with the RNV-31 has brought that price point way down. They do have 3 models. They've got a 14 to 1600 FOM green phosphor model. That one comes in at $41.99, $4,200. This model, mine is the one right in the middle. It's the 14 to 1600 FOM white phosphor. These come in at $46.59, although mine were a little bit over 1600 FOM. They're like 1671, 1676, I think. They did come with spec sheets for both tubes. And then they have a higher spec model, which is at 1800 to 2000 FOM white phosphor for $66.99. Now, is it worth going for tubes that aren't the highest spec tubes in the world? So you could spend more money, but I think that you get into a level of decreasing value for your money. You're going to spend a lot more money to get higher spec tubes. Is it really worth it? So the biggest difference that you'll find is in very, very low light situations, is where lower spec tubes, lower signal to noise ratio, where the tubes might struggle a little bit. But honestly, I've used these in really good lighting conditions, full moon outside, as well as I've tested them indoors in rooms with literally no light at all. And yes, you do get some noise, some fuzz there, and it is pretty dark, although just use the included IR illuminator and it seems to make everything perfectly bright and clear again. We're gonna get really deep into this unit here after a quick word from our channel partner. I'd like to thank Aura to continue sponsoring Sawtooth Tactical. They've been with me for the better part of a year now, and I've been using their service that entire time. And the best way to support Sawtooth Tactical is to sign up for Aura using my link down below. You get 2 weeks free if you use my link. It's only $12 a month after that, and they offer you a lot of stuff. I've talked many times in the past about data broker removal. Well, you've probably noticed that there are data leaks that happen. I get, notifications sometimes, oh, your password was involved in a data leak. Well, when that happens, then all of a sudden, all of your information is available to bad actors. And what they do is they find the data brokers that want to sell your information and they opt you out from those lists. But they do a heck of a lot more than just that. So, spam and junk mail removal. That was one of the biggest ones to me. I don't get spam anymore. I really appreciate that. They have an antivirus. It's all of your online security all in one place. A VPN with safe browsing. So you can be on the internet and you don't have to worry. That's really nice. They have 3 bureau credit monitoring. Again, it's good to know what your credit is doing, especially if something happens to it that wasn't your fault. It's nice to know that right away and be able to take care of it, which these guys will do for you. Scam call protection. I haven't gotten scam calls in the last 9 months, and I used to get them fairly often. And some of them sound pretty legit when they're not. I mean, obviously they're not. But I don't get those anymore ever since I've been using Aura. Password manager. I hate trying to remember 1,000 passwords, which you have to do these days if you are online at all. With Aura, you don't have to worry about that. Home title monitoring. If you own your own home, bad people can actually get your home title out from underneath you if they know what they're doing, and Aura protects you from that as well. You get all this stuff for $12 a month, but again, 2 weeks free if you use my link down below, aura.com/sawtooth-tactical. The RNV-31 does come packaged as a very premium product. Extremely nice packaging here, and inside that packaging, you get, standard stuff, instruction booklet, all that. You do get spec sheets for both of your tubes. Now they do have an RNV-14 also for a very good price, which is a single tube monocular if you're really trying to save money on night vision. You get a lens cloth, you get patches, you get stickers, and your night vision itself comes in a really nice padded case here, which is good because even at the price that the RIX Tactical RNV-31 comes in at, it is still close to $5,000 more if you get the really high spec model. So you do want to take care of it. So I do appreciate the padded case. I keep it in this all the time when I'm not using it and pull it out and clip it to my helmet when I am. Now the dovetail mount on it clicks in solidly to a G24 mount. It has very little play, if any at all. No issues there whatsoever. Now the unit itself, I think that it has pretty much all of the features that you want. So it is articulating. Articulating is a really nice feature to have. Many times when I've had them on, in fact, we'll just demonstrate really quick. When you have them on, sometimes I've found you don't necessarily want to flip them all the way up out of the way. It's nice to be able to just articulate them up and right back down when you're in the middle of doing something. The other nice thing about that is they do have auto pod shutoff. So you can enable that or decide not to use it if you want. But if you use it, when you flip a pod off to the side, that one shuts off. Or if you flip the whole unit up, it'll shut off. And so you don't have a bunch of light coming out here that could possibly give away your position if that's what you're worried about, or anything like that. They also have bright source protection. Now, that is not the same as auto gating. So auto gating is if you are, a bright light happens to come at your night vision tubes, auto gating to make it very simple, basically shuts them off for a split second so that the tubes don't get damaged. These don't have that. They have bright source protection, and I have experienced that personally. If I'll go out at night, out my front door of my house, go do whatever I'm doing under nods, I've got the gain turned all the way up, and again, it does have manual gain, which I think is a very nice feature to have. And then I come walk back toward my house. I have a glass door in the front of my house, and the lights are on inside. As I come up to that door, the bright source protection turns down the gain on my tubes so that they don't get damaged from that light. And I think that that is also a nice feature to have. And so I do run the autopod shutoff and the bright source protection full time when I'm using these. I don't see any reason not to. Neither of those features has caused me any problems, so I figure I might as well use them. Now it does run on a single AA battery. I use a lithium battery in it. Apparently you don't want to use alkaline batteries because they can possibly leak and damage your unit. Again, it is something that you want to take care of. Even though it comes in at the lower spectrum of night vision price points, still not a cheap thing. And if there's anything that I could say about this as far as my experience with it, well, RIX Tactical sent this out to me for this period to use it, test it out, and to review it. I've done a number of videos on it. This is the review video. And then I have the choice to either send them back or purchase them and keep them forever. And I've decided to purchase these. So if you could take away anything from this review, it's worth it to me to buy these at this price point. I think that this is the cheapest I will ever be able to get into a brand new set of dual tube white phosphor night vision. And to me, it is very worth it. Now, I have used these probably more than most people use night vision in their whole life, just in the last month and a half. I've gone out with them every single night. I've gone on night hikes. I've gone shooting with them a couple times at night, and I don't even have a laser aiming module yet. Although now that I am deciding to keep these and purchase them, I will be getting one soon, so we will have those videos coming as well. But all I was able to do was passively aim through my EOTech. I shot with the Mark 18. Both times I went out to the range with these at night, and I was able to passively aim through the EOTech with these just fine. I've been able to go out on the darkest nights with cloud cover, no moon, nights that I couldn't see the stars, clear nights with no moon, and I've been able to see everything that I wanted to very well. When I first got them and I didn't really understand how to use them to their fullest potential yet, I felt like a lot of the things that I looked at were not very crisp and clear. Well, that was just my fault. You have to focus them. Just like any other lens, they do have an ocular focus. You turn these and you can focus them at whatever distance you want. A lot of people will just stare at the stars, focus them to infinity, and leave it there. And that's what I did at first. But I realized that if you really want to get the most enjoyment out of them, that it's kind of worth focusing on whatever you're focusing on. So like if I'm walking around town, I'll kind of focus them at the buildings at a certain distance so everything looks nice and clear. If I'm taking a hike, I'll focus them at the mountains so that I can see all the detail on it very well. If I'm doing something inside, I'll focus them up close so that whatever I'm looking at or interacting with is nice and crisp and clear. And it is very crisp and clear with these. Do you really need 2,500 plus FOM tubes? I'm sure they're really nice to have, but is it worth, thousands of dollars per tube when you can get dual tubes for the price of like one singular tube? I think I would rather have dual tubes, 1,600 FOM, than a single monocular 2,500 plus FOM if we're talking about the same kind of price point there. And I've decided that through use of these, because they're articulating, I have tried them as just a single tube, both in my right eye and my left eye, to see what that experience was like. And to be quite honest, it is so much easier and just more comfortable to use them as a dual tube setup. And so to me, it is worth paying a little more to have dual tubes, or paying a little bit less to have dual tubes with the RNV-31. Now they do have proprietary glass, proprietary lenses that are not the same size as mil-spec lenses. So some of your accessories that would screw into tubes that have, PVS 14 glass, mil-spec Carson glass, will not work on these. These have smaller lenses. Now, they do have a model, the RNV-31S, that does use mil-spec glass. So those are a little bit more expensive, but not a whole lot more if that's something that's really important to you. I know a lot of people like to run irises, so I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. As far as I've been concerned and my use so far, I am perfectly happy with both the tubes and the glass in these, and I'm very happy with the housing. So the housing is very lightweight. Now, is it really that lightweight? I mean, it's a lot of weight hanging off the front of your head, but as far as night vision goes, this is a very lightweight dual tube housing relative to other night vision. It's also very compact. And so what you give up by maybe not having mil-spec glass, you have in lightweight and compact, which again, when you have it hanging off the front of your head, lightweight and compact is a nice thing. To be honest, you'll find moving around with stuff like this on that it could be easy to bump into things. And the more weight you have on your head, the more neck fatigue and stuff like that you'll get. So having something compact, again, I mean, it does not stick out as far as other night vision, and lightweight, well, that means that you don't have to run as much counterweight as well. And so your whole helmet setup can be more lightweight. So I think that there are positives and negatives to this night vision not being mil-spec. Do I think that it's worth it? Well, like I said, I'm buying these. So I do think it's worth it, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm purchasing these. I've wanted night vision for a very long time. And I want to thank RIX Tactical for sending these out to me to try, because just having the opportunity to use night vision for the last month and a half has showed me that I don't want to not have night vision. I've spent as much as these cost on building a singular rifle. And I've got plenty of rifles. Now that rifle is like my best rifle. It's freaking sweet. But at the same time, to me, it's worth the same amount of money for the capabilities that night vision gives you. And you're not going to get the same kind of capabilities with digital night vision if you're trying to really go cheap. I mean, digital night vision is not the same as real analog night vision. So these are kind of in the middle. Much more expensive than digital, but much more usable, but much less expensive than, higher spec night vision tubes and housings can be. But as far as that housing goes, I think that this housing has all of the features that you want. Again, getting back to those features, IPD stops. These are thumb screws that will make it so that when you rotate these down, they stop exactly where you want them to. So you set them for how far apart your eyes are. Everybody's face is different. And then every time you put them back, they go right back to the same spot. Once you set this up correctly with your IPD stops and your G24 mount where you want it, it is very easy to just flip them down right in front of your eyes. They're going to come down exactly where you want them every single time. Manual gain. You can run the manual gain all the way up, and right now I've got lens covers on the ocular lenses. These lens covers have pinholes in them, but if you look right there, you can see through them right now. Now, I wouldn't turn the manual gain all the way up without these covers on them with all the light in the studio here. That would not be a good way to protect my investment here. And you do want to take care of your night vision. But as you can see, even with the covers on there, you could see through these pretty dang well and see what was behind me. I think for my use, these 1600 FOM tubes are great. Maybe someday in the future, I'll decide that I need higher spec tubes, but I honestly almost can't even imagine it. These do everything that I need them to do just fine. And for the price that they come in at, it made it a lot easier for me to get into night vision. I am not a wealthy man. I do just fine for myself, but I work a full-time regular job. I have a side business, and I do this YouTube channel. All three of those things just to make ends meet and to be able to, buy the things that I want that you see on the wall behind me. Well, I've always wanted night vision, but it's been very hard for me to justify getting into a set of dual tube white phosphor, which is what I wanted, articulating. I mean, this is literally exactly what I want in a night vision setup. But if you go with like L3 Harris tubes, or even Elbit tubes, or even Photonis tubes, you're going to be a lot more expensive than this. And that is a lot of money to put down all at once on night vision, especially when you really look into it and you realize that you're going to spend another $500 to $1,000 on a helmet. You're going to spend at least another $1,000 on a laser aiming module. And if you want to run more than one night vision rifle, that's multiple laser aiming modules, multiple thousands of dollars. It really adds up quick. So if you can get into the night vision unit itself for less than $5,000, a dual tube white phosphor articulating unit, I think that's pretty sweet. I love the manual gain. When I'm walking back toward the house after a hike and there's people coming down the road with headlights on, I just turn my gain way down and it doesn't really bother me. As far as, I think these 1600 FOM tubes are doing me just fine. If you don't have night vision and you're looking to get into night vision and you've seen these on the market because they are very attractive as far as the price point goes, and you're wondering if they're worth it, I absolutely think that they are. I think these things are fantastic. They're the coolest thing that I've gotten in like my adult life.
Industrial strength night vision goggles.
Holy Santa Claus shit. Can you imagine if we had these when we were 12?
Even better, we got them when we're 40.
Even better, we got them when we're 40. I mean, I'm 42. I finally have night vision, and I think it's the coolest thing ever. And it cost me a lot less than some other night vision units would cost. A little bit more than maybe a lower spec PVS 14, which is what I was thinking of getting. But honestly, I feel like I am much happier with this dual setup than I would have been with a singular PVS 14. So I think that if you're looking at these and wondering if they're worth it, I only have 5 weeks of experience with them so far. But again, I've used them every single night. So, at least 35 nights I've gone out and used these, sometimes for hours and hours at some of those nights. I've gone on hikes with them. I've gone shooting with them. I've done stuff in my house with them. I put them on just to take out the garbage at night. I've played hide and seek with my daughter in my parents' giant basement when we were up there for Thanksgiving. Basically anything I could think of to do in the dark, I try with the night vision just to get more experience with it, because I wanted to be able to bring you guys a very good, honest review. And my honest review of these is that they're freaking awesome. So don't expect them to be 2500 FOM L3 tubes. That's not what they are, but they are honestly, I think, good enough for probably 90% of the people that want to get into night vision. They totally impressed me. I'm very happy with them. So happy with them that I'm buying them. So these aren't going back to RIX Tactical. These will be on the channel forever now. This is going to be the end of this night vision series right now. We did 5 videos. Originally it was going to be 4. The 4th video was going to be the review. Then they extended it by 2 weeks. And I decided to do the review in the 5th week because I feel like I've had enough experience with these now. I can give you guys my honest opinion. My honest opinion is that they are fantastic for the price. I mean, this housing is totally rugged. It is polymer, but you know what? It took me a few days to even realize it was polymer. Like, it could be metal, except that it just doesn't feel as cold to the touch. Like, it is a totally solid housing. I don't feel like this thing is fragile at all or like I'm gonna damage it. I just use it. I mean, I don't freaking shine it up at the sun turned on. I don't drop it on purpose. Like, I'm definitely taking care of it, but at the same time, I feel like it is something I can totally just use as a tool, just like one of my rifles. It is just another tool in the toolbox, but it's a very useful tool and a very fun tool to use, to be quite honest. Night vision will kind of change your life. Like, I've been obsessed with this ever since I've gotten these. So if that tells you anything about it, like, dude, they're freaking awesome. Go for it. If you're on the fence about buying night vision, go for it. It doesn't have to be RIX Tactical Night Vision. If you've got the money for some higher spec stuff and you feel like it's worth it to you, then do it. But if budget is a concern to you, as it is to me, these, I think, punch way above their price point. So let me know in the comments if you have used RIX Tactical Night Vision or if you own other night vision. And tell me if you think that it is worth the extra money for higher spec tubes, or if you think that you got some of these and you are totally happy with them. Whether you got the RNV-31, the RNV-31S, which has mil-spec glass and can take a CR123 as well as a AA, or if you've got an RNV-14, a single tube. Let me know what your experience has been. I want to know, good or bad, because my experience has been overwhelmingly positive. I think that these, despite their slight drawbacks, which is how they get to this price point of, smaller lenses and NVT tubes, I think that despite those couple things, that these have all the features, fully featured housing, lightweight, compact, and the tubes are plenty good for anything that I'm using them for. I think these are awesome. But tell me if you agree with me down in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. I try to answer as many comments as I possibly can. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Make sure you subscribe to Sawtooth Tactical. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.